even if she was 17 years and 10 months old, which what a weird fucking exact number to know.
So weird.
That's so weird. Even if she
he was what?
Exactly
60?
Yes, that's fucking odd. That is weird.
Disgusting.
That is weird. Hello and welcome to Hysteria. I'm Erin Ryan.
And I'm Alyssa Mastromonaco.
Alyssa, I want to play a game with you that you're going to hate.
Oh, I love when we play games I hate.
Okay, so when I was working under the script for our Pete Hegseth episode of This Fucking Guy, like a month and a half ago or so, I made a few jokes about how everything he does is so extra that it kind of seems gay.
Yeah, totally.
Right?
I remember.
Well, Hegseth is at it again. He's perpetually at it. He
Can't help himself.
He recently tweeted the names of 3 military exercises that occurred under his watch that are honestly a little suggestive, and I wasn't the only one to notice.
Okay.
How suggestive? Well, Alyssa, I put together a game for you called Pete Hegseth Military Exercise or Gay Pornographic Film.
Okay.
Are you ready to play?
I'm
I
into
also,
this.
like, HR for Crooked Media should know that the gay porn that I was Googling was for this game. Okay, number 1.
All right.
Is this a Pete Hegseth military exercise or gay porn film? Falconhead.
Hegseth exercise.
Gay porn.
Okay.
Okay. 2. Southern Spear.
Hegseth exercise.
That is correct. Okay. 3. Power Play.
Gay porn.
That's correct. Wow, Alyssa,
Okay.
you know your gay porn.
Thanks so much.
4. Midnight Hammer.
Hegseth exercise.
That's correct. And number 5,
Yes.
final question, Rough Rider.
I have to go with gay porn.
It's both.
Oh,
ding, ding, ding,
trick
ding,
question.
ding. And welcome back. You're listening to Hysteria, the podcast that wants you to remember the next time you hit a curb, you may be a bad driver, but you're not as bad as J.D. Vance's motorcade. On November 14th, just this past weekend, the vice president was in Maryville, Tennessee, apparently for some fundraising activity. When his motorcade crashed, they crashed into a motorcycle riding law enforcement officer named Justin Brown, who was critically injured in the collision. Bystanders rendered first aid to the officer. So I looked this up. I couldn't find anything about like people in his motorcade stopping and like helping the guy.
Right.
I don't know what they did, but in all the news reports, they're like, yeah, thank you to the bystanders. Apparently, he's still hospitalized and in very serious condition. It's really weird that J.D. Vance hasn't tweeted anything about it. He hasn't said anything about it.
I mean, the closest I've come to knowing a story like this was an episode of Madam Secretary where they hit someone with their motorcade, but they were in a war zone, so they had to keep going because in those instances, you don't know if it's like a, some sort of like suicide bomber or something. It feels weird that Secret Service hasn't like released a statement that they're monitoring, hopeful for recovery. I mean, it feels like some low-hanging fruit is being missed.
Thank you to our law enforcement office, whatever.
Yeah, anything.
It's very, very odd. But then again, I do think that J.D. Vance has such a deep and abiding contempt for Americans in the part of the country where he was raised that he would view being in Tennessee as sort of like being in a war zone. To J.D. Vance, like that's probably how he views those people. But it's so yeah. And another thing I want to say, just completely unrelated to J.D. Vance, who is apparently an angel of chaos wherever he goes. Recently, a restaurant called the Inn at Little Washington and 2 other restaurants were stripped of their 3rd Michelin stars. The Inn at Little Washington was the site of
shit.
Yeah. They were the site. They were the site of Alinea, also in Chicago, lost one of their stars.
Really? I've actually been to Alinea. I've not
Really?
been to the Inn at Little Washington. Yeah, I've been to Alinea.
I have mispronounced that restaurant name for years and years and years until somebody corrected me.
What'd you call it before?
Alinea.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I could see that.
But anyway. But yeah, Inn at Little Washington lost one of its Michelin stars.
After JD went?
JD went in May. I mean, he visited the Pope. The Pope died. He
and Ted Cruz are harbingers.
We'll talk a little bit about Ted Cruz in a bit, but we have a lot to get to this week. Stuff keeps happening. Let's catch up on what's going on Epstein-wise. It's a fast-moving story, so by the time people hear this episode, there's probably going to be more stuff, right?
But this is how we feel about the stuff that we know.
Yeah, this is how we feel about the stuff that we know. Last week, the House Oversight Committee released thousands of documents that show a glimpse into Epstein's email correspondence between finishing his Florida sentence in 2009 for soliciting prostitution from an underage girl and his arrest on federal sex trafficking charges in 2019. Okay, so these emails that came from the Epstein estate happened after he was like a registered sex offender.
Right.
So
after he should have known better.
And the people who are communicating with him also.
Right.
If I had a friend that was a registered sex offender, I would be like, you know what? Maybe you didn't do it, but like the upside is the upside is we're friends and you didn't do it. The downside is I'm friends with a fucking sex monster.
Yeah.
So just anyway, whatever. You know what? I'm not Larry Summers, so I'm not going to be able to make that judgment. Okay, so the emails show that the people who are keeping in touch with Epstein ran through the entire political spectrum, including Peter Thiel, Steve Bannon, Professor Noam Chomsky, and Larry Summers, the aforementioned former Clinton and Obama official. The only thing the recipients and senders of the Grosses emails have in common is they're all men. This is something that we're not really talking about in the news. People are like, wow, it cuts across the political spectrum. It's like, yeah. 95% fucking dudes.
Dudes.
Not all men, but always a man. Not all men, but always a man. On Tuesday, the House overwhelmingly voted 427-1 to compel the DOJ to release the Epstein files. I just want to point out that Donald Trump and the DOJ could have done this without Congress.
Absolutely.
They didn't need Congress to do this.
No.
And it's not clear that they will abide by what Congress does, but
right.
Whatever. But this vote was in part thanks to the bipartisan crusade by Representatives Thomas Massie of Kentucky and Ro Khanna of California. Trump was against the release until he wasn't against the release. He notably switched up on Sunday night, urging House Republicans to back the measure. He was like, whatever, I don't care.
It's like, just vote
Just
for
do
it.
I don't care.
It's fine.
I don't care.
I have nothing to hide now.
On Monday, he said he would sign the bill if it reached his desk. On Tuesday evening, the Senate unanimously agreed to pass the House-backed bill, forcing the Justice Department to release the Epstein case files as soon as they are received from the chamber. Per CNN, Majority Leader John Thune said that will happen on Wednesday. And after that, no further action is required of the Senate, and the bill will be sent to President Trump to sign the legislation. Alyssa, what's the deal with the Trump switch? Is it because he can't handle losing? He sees now that like if he continued the way he was continuing, he would have ended up on
it was
going to
be a coup d'etat. We talked about this.
Yeah.
It was becoming more than the load could bear. And the worst possible thing would have been, now, the day after, we're not getting a bunch of stories that are like the defections, right? A week ago when Trump had not sort of given the green light for them to go vote, there was a lot of talk, the defections, the people who are going to vote against Trump, the people who are going to defy Trump. So Trump couldn't have that. He couldn't have, because at one point, even before the vote, they were saying 100 members reporters had talked to who were like, oh yeah, I'm voting for this. I can't vote against this. So Trump just, as we like to say, Trump just got with what was happening. Mm-hmm. He didn't want it to look like he lost something. So he did like a last minute Hail Mary and is like, oh no, I've always been for this. Let's vote for it.
I mean, the thing that's really weird about it is like he fought this tooth and nail from, I would say probably May, but publicly in earnest starting in July when the Justice Department released a memo that was like, actually, we did a thorough investigation. We looked into everything we have, and there's no reason for us to charge anybody else with anything at this time, nor is it appropriate for us to release any more information, right?
Right.
They came out with that statement in July. Donald Trump recently was like, Pam Bondi, you need to investigate the Democrats that are in this thing.
Right.
So, and Pam Bondi was like, yes, sir, right away, sir. The thing is that they were either lying then, the Justice Department was either lying then, that they had actually gone through everything and found that there was no reason to charge anyone else, nor was there any reason it was appropriate to release any more information, or they're lying now. Like, they didn't do a thorough investigation? Because if it's possible to do an investigation now, then they didn't do an investigation then. And if
they're lying both times.
Or they're lying, but I mean, I
think they're lying both times.
Wouldn't put it past them. I think it's very odd. Also, like, we just say Donald Trump has looked like shit this week.
He also losing his shit.
He is losing his shit. You can tell that he's losing his shit when he starts like acting abusive, specifically toward women.
So triggered.
So triggered. He called a reporter on Air Force One
quiet little piggy.
Little piggy, which is very ironic for a man who looks so much like a pig.
I'm like a not nice piggy.
Not nice pig. Like the kind of pig that you're like, I guess I don't feel bad about bacon. It's not like a...
Also the kind of pig that you're like, I don't even know if they'd turn him into bacon.
I know. He's real old and tough. He's like the kind of pig that people feed bodies to, you know?
It's like grizzly.
Yeah, gross. He's losing it. He also yelled at a different reporter, I think ABC News'
Mary Bruce.
Yes, he yelled at her.
Yeah.
The footage of that incident is really, really funny.
Insane.
Because she's standing next to another woman who is kind of like, oh my God. Like you can see the reporters kind of looking at each other like, get a load of this guy.
Yeah.
And it really brings into relief the fact that he's losing control of things.
Totally. Well, because you know what was so great about the Mary Bruce of it all is that ABC paid their fine. You know, ABC, and she's still not stopping. Like, I think he thought by leveling these fines at people and saying, you're going to pay for this story and you're going to pay damages for this and you're not going to get out of, you know, like whatever until you pay. And they did, and ABC paid, and she's just like front and center. She's like, no. Let's talk about Khashoggi. Let's talk about Epstein. Let's talk about it.
But eventually somebody throws enough fits, you kind of don't react to them anymore. It kind of doesn't have the impact. It's like if you just completely are at an 11 at all times, when you're at an 11, it's like when the terror alert was at orange for like 7 years.
Oh, God, yeah. And it's like, I don't know. Are we fine?
Am I heightened?
Are we just at an orange now?
This is just the baseline now. Like him being at like threat level orange is just like his baseline, and nobody really seemed rattled by what he did. They just were kind of like, oh my God, give me a break, dude. Like, calm down.
Well, this is the thing. Even though he blessed, I put in air quotes, the Republicans voting for the release, everybody knows that that's not true. So people on the outside also a bit emboldened because it's like he lost power. Like, even though he said, like, nobody believes that he wanted them to vote for the release of the files. So everybody on the outside knows that he has lost control.
Yeah. I mean, what's the catch? So right now we're at a place where it looks as though the legislative branch is going to compel the executive branch to compel the Justice Department to release these files that the Justice Department and executive branch have been keeping from the public for quite some time. What's the catch? What are we going to find out? Like, I think that there are people out there that are sort of Mueller timing this.
Right.
That are like, now it's all going to come out. But I feel like there's probably stuff that we're...
No, because there's been some talk about this, but basically if Trump tells Bondi to open an investigation around the Epstein files, she can. And therefore, if there's an ongoing investigation, the files cannot be released.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, that's some. I feel like you're giving him ideas. I also think that like.
Well, Sunny Hostin from The View did. That wasn't even I heard Sunny say it.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, maybe she gave him some ideas, and he watches The View.
Hysteria is brought to you by Ritual. Erin, let's be real. Our diets aren't always the most balanced this time of year. Instead of my ginger tea, am I having a little eggnog? I am. Is that more sugar than I should probably have? It is. Does it make me full and maybe I don't eat dinner, which would have some greens and protein? That's probably what happened. So enter Ritual, the obsessively researched multivitamin. Ritual's essential multis have the nutrients most of us don't get enough of from food, all in their clean, absorbable forms. No shady additives or ingredients that can do more harm to your body than good. And luckily, Ritual's Black Friday sale is here.
I like to take my multi every morning. It's easy.
Me too.
It's like brushing your teeth. You get up, you do the like morning stuff, and like taking a Ritual is part of it. And then you can feel less bad about eating like stuffing for dinner. Because once there is stuffing in my home,
it's not gone until it's gone.
It's not gone until it's gone, and I definitely do my part to make it gone. I put it in my body and I turn it into fuel that is probably not the most nutritionally balanced, if you will. That's why I love Ritual's Essential for Women 18 and Over Multi. It contains 9 key nutrients in 2 delayed release capsules designed for optimal absorption per day. It's gentle on the stomach because of that little minty essence that we talk about. They also conducted a university-led clinical trial for their Essential for Women 18 and Over multivitamin to assess its efficacy, and they found that it increased vitamin D levels by 43% and omega-3 DHA levels by 41% in just 12 weeks.
Instead of striving for perfect health, aim for supporting foundational health. My listeners get early access to their Black Friday sale for 40% off your first month at ritual.com/hysteria. That's ritual.com/hysteria for 40% off your first month. Don't miss out on their best sale of the season. Hysteria is brought to you by Aura Frames. Erin, what if you could give a gift that brings your favorite holiday traditions and memories to life every day? What if you could do that?
I would love that.
Well, you know what?
What?
With an Aura frame, you can.
Whoa!
Yeah.
That's amazing. Hey, you know what? An Aura frame is a perfect gift for
Grandparents.
a mother who lives far away, a relative who lives far away. If you've ever gotten a text from that person asking you for pictures.
Yep.
Like not in a like creepy way. I mean like, hi, I haven't seen you in the, I haven't seen your cat in a while. I haven't seen you and the kids in a while. Like, what's Josh up to? Whatever. Like anybody my mom sent me a text once because I sent my dad a picture of my younger daughter that I didn't send to her, and she was upset.
They get upset, and then also about a week later, they're like, can you send that picture again? Because I can't find where you sent it in the first place.
Right, exactly. That's why I really like Aura frames for those people who are bothering you constantly about pictures. You can
make it easy on yourself.
You can make it easy on yourself and easy on them, and they can have access to more things and remember where they all are. Aura Frames gives you unlimited free photos and videos. Just download the Aura app and connect to Wi-Fi. You can preload photos before it ships, so they open it up.
Perfect.
And like there's a little slideshow they can look at, and that's just like a great Christmas morning or like holiday gift opening moment. You can keep adding from anywhere, anytime. So if you really want to like spam your parents with some pictures, like it could be a fun way to prank them as well. You can also personalize the gift by adding a message before it arrives. You can share photos and videos effortlessly straight from your phone all year long. There's a gift box included. Every frame comes packaged in a premium gift box with no price tag. Oh, yeah. The Aura gift box is like tip-top.
It's clutch. You can't wrap togetherness, Erin, but you can frame it. For a limited time, visit auraframes.com and get $45 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames, named #1 by Wirecutter, using promo code Hysteria at checkout. That's auraframes.com, promo code Hysteria. This exclusive Black Friday Cyber Monday deal is their best of the year, so order now before it ends. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply.
I think that's a good point, but I also think like let's talk about some of the things that were in the Epstein files, that the Epstein emails that were released because they were subpoenaed by the House committee. Mm-hmm. In the emails, one of the famous emails, one of the first 3 that the Democrats released, contained the phrase like Trump is the dog that didn't bark. Or like, he hasn't said anything. He spent hours with a redacted victim at Epstein's house and he hasn't said anything. Something tells me, and maybe I'm just extrapolating too much, that in that email, it is implied that Trump isn't even being looked at. Like he's the one that hasn't said anything or hasn't done anything. He's not even part of the investigation, and maybe I'm reading too much into it, but it just seemed like he was like, oh yeah, Trump is this like loose end that for some reason is still out there dangling and nobody's pulled on. And if that's the case, then there wouldn't be much in the Epstein files about him because he wasn't somebody that was investigated.
Right.
Which is something that's kind of my thought.
Yeah, it's totally possible.
I also think another loose end is like a lot of people are viewing all of Epstein's emails and exchanges with these powerful men with a lot of credulity, without keeping in mind that powerful men are full of shit and they are often exaggerating their own importance and bragging to each other and showing off to each other. And I'm not saying that Jeffrey Epstein isn't guilty of the things that it seems like he's guilty of. I am just saying that like it is very possible that people exchanging messages with Jeffrey Epstein and Jeffrey Epstein himself were exaggerating things in order to feel or seem more important to another guy.
Well, there is a real like Revenge of the Nerds in all of this. Like that a lot of these people who were exchanging emails with him were people who were very smart but terribly uncool. And that they were trying to be like in some sort of club, you know, no matter what that club was. But there was just some like real, I don't know, there was like a high school, and I'm not diminishing the grossness of the emails, but it just felt like a lot of people who were trying to prove something to each
Locker
other.
room talk, if you will.
I mean, locker room talk.
I mean, and
that's what I'm trying to
it's
say.
gross. Like the homosocial interactions of men are pretty gross, as like, you know, most women by our age have learned.
Yeah.
If Epstein's exchanges with people like, you know, Bannon, etc., I feel like there's an amount of bluster in that. And so I'm not minimizing anything. There also could be some downplaying. Like if they were actually talking about crimes that were very serious, it's possible that people were talking in code or like alluding to things. Like there were a few emails where it just really is like, why are they talking about this? These words seem very odd. And I felt like a QAnon follower in 2018. But I think that there's, first of all, I don't believe that Jeffrey Epstein or anybody who is like in his inner circle is a reliable source for anything.
Right. Agree.
Ghislaine Maxwell, not a reliable source for anything. And
especially not now.
Especially not now. Todd Blanche should be humiliated
ridiculous.
By that giant facade that he put on in July when he interviewed her for 2 days. And she was like, oh, no, I've never seen Donald Trump do anything.
The best part of the news the past couple of weeks was how they had to get all the prisoners together at her prison facility to be like, you have to stop leaking to the reporters. Like the fact that she's just surrounded by people who hate her so much is like a little cold comfort.
She is a hateable person, I gotta say.
Yeah.
She's like a privileged person who is experiencing a consequence for the first time in her life after a life of like things that deserve consequences. It's I don't blame the prisoners for disliking her. So basically we're gonna get these files. Also, there's a possibility that the Justice Department has redacted them so heavily that any information that we get,
that's absolutely true,
is just gonna, it could be
useless.
It could be like the Bill Barr Mueller report playbook,
right,
where they come out and they're like, actually, you know, here's a press conference about how it says nothing, and then we get them the next day and it doesn't say nothing, but by then they've already gotten something out that sets what the narrative is. And you know, I don't think the other loose end here, and then we've talked about this on the show before, is back at the beginning of this Trump term, there was a lot of like loosey-goosey information security stuff being reported on in the press. People who shouldn't have access to massive tranches of data were given access to them. And I don't know that they even know who had access to what and when, especially considering like an Elon Musk or a Doge or, you know. So there is a part of me that thinks that it is highly possible that somebody could have either seen, copied, like transmitted, whatever, copies of pieces of these files, and it's not knowable for people in the administration who could have seen those or who could have them, which I also think leaves them open to being like blackmailed or extorted. If somebody involved in Doge was to reach out and be like, listen, guys, you better give me a 20.
No, I mean, Erin, 100%. Some person named Big Baby Balls, whatever his name was just rolling into agencies being like, give me access. I mean, we're talking about people who wanted access through the IRS to our social security numbers. So like 100%, we have no idea what was found when any of these baby Doge balls were rolling through the agencies a scant 9 months ago.
Well, and let's say that if you're in the business of just extracting as much money from every situation as possible, one of the most valuable things that you could have obtained when you had unprecedented and unsupervised access to government data is these files.
Absolutely.
There are so many important people who have been associated with Jeffrey Epstein, as we see from his emails. There's bank information that we've never seen publicly. There's all of this stuff going on. And I have to say that if I were somebody who was just kind of if I were just sort of trying to make money and I had access to government data, I would be like, cool, yoink,
Well, and who are the custodians of this data, right? We got Pam Bondi, who will say anything Trump tells her to say. We've got Kash Patel, who is a podcaster with bug out eyes, who really just like goes out to dinner. And then Dan Bongino, who I don't think we've seen since he had threw a nutty and took some mental health days and then came back to the office. Like these are not people that you look at and you're like, you know what? Safe hands.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and then there's the matter of the Epstein estate, which is, and we're going to get really corkboard and red string here. But the Epstein estate is administered in part by a guy named Darren Indike, who is an attorney. He is employed by the Parlatore Law Group. Timothy Parlatore is a high-ranking aide to Pete Hegseth currently.
Wow.
Yeah, who's been pissing a lot of people off around the Department of Defense, a.k.a. the Department of War, whatever. The executor of Epstein's estate is currently employed by a guy who works very closely with the Secretary of Defense. It's like there's a lot going on here.
A lot of what, back when I used to work at Vice, Shane Smith had a term, a lot of jiggery pokery. A lot of jiggery pokery going on.
I think that the late Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia also used that term.
Maybe he got it from
Argle-bargle. That's the one he used.
Argle-bargle,
not jiggery pokery.
No, but both of them, or what's going on?
There's argle-bargle. There's jiggery pokery. And then in the meantime, there are human beings at the center of this story. Most of whom, are still living with the scars of having survived what they survived. The Epstein victims. Now, they've come out publicly and made one final push to have this case released more widely. But Alyssa, why don't you tell us about what that looks like?
Well, Erin, the MAGA having a normal one over the latest release of the Epstein-related documents. Megyn Kelly is not okay. She has raised questions as to whether Jeffrey Epstein was even technically a pedophile, saying there's a difference between a 15-year-old and a 5-year-old on her Sirius XM show. What, Megyn? Yeah.
Doesn't she have
correct?
She has a 14-year-old daughter. I just want to point that out.
Yes, she has a 14-year-old daughter. She followed up, though, and clarified. She needed to clarify. She said she still thinks it's disgusting.
But why? Also, why say anything? You could, to quote the great writer Ta-Nehisi Coates, was silence not an option? Was silence not an option?
Would have been an option. I just she couldn't keep it to herself. I mean, and it seems that a lot of people are making this very dangerous, disgusting, they're not comparisons, I guess, excuses or like whataboutisms, but Trump lawyer Alan Dershowitz sang a similar tune when he was talking to ye old Chris Cuomo on News Nation, saying Epstein only ever pleaded guilty to one count of having sex for money with a 17 and 10-month-old person, claiming that's not a pedophile. What?
I mean, that is so bad faith. Dershowitz knows this. First of all, he's a disgusting person.
He's so gross.
He's so gross. Only the good die young,
I mean, he's like been run out of Martha's Vineyard.
He's disgusting. Yeah, remember that pierogi fight that he got into? God, what a fucking dork. But like, the thing is, the person, he is so minimizing a case that he was intimately familiar with. He should know more than anybody that the person who first went to her parents to report the abuse, which kicked off the investigation into Epstein in Palm Beach, was not a 17-year-old and 10 months old person. She was a bit younger than that. And they uncovered dozens and dozens of victims. He only ended up getting charged with one because of the sweetheart deal he had with a crooked Southern District of Florida office run by Alex Acosta, who Donald Trump eventually named Secretary of Labor after the first guy he tried to nominate. It was revealed that he had been a wife beater. It is just shitheads all the way down here.
Also, Dershowitz, really? The person who Virginia Giuffre claimed that she was forced to have sex with? Is he really one to speak? Should he have an opinion in this? Again, is silence not an option?
If there's anything Alan Dershowitz can't do, it's shut the fuck up. And he has demonstrated that over and over again, that he just simply cannot shut the fuck up. I mean, it's so gross. And I don't know why he would say that to Chris Cuomo. Does he think that consumers of News Nation are so gullible that they would take him at his word? He was literally
maybe.
He was literally on Epstein's legal team. Like, what? Why would he be a reliable source of information on this? And I mean, it's so gross. Also, like, even if she was 17 years and 10 months old, which what a weird fucking exact number to know.
So weird.
That's so weird. Even if
He was what?
Exactly
60?
Yes, that's fucking odd. That is weird.
Disgusting.
That is weird. I am in my early 40s, and the idea of looking at a 17-year-old boy sexually, 17 years old, 10 months, disgusting to me.
It's predatory.
Disgusting. Like, the older I get, the more I understand how disordered and deranged it is for people who are like my age to be attracted to teenagers. Like, that is fucked up. There's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with you. Like, and I don't even want to
deeply predatory behavior.
I don't even want to be like, well, it's natural to be attracted to beautiful. No, it's not. They're children. They're children.
No.
They're kids.
Stop reading Lolita. Like,
Their
stop.
brains haven't developed. And also, like, Lolita isn't praising the lifestyle of the
correct.
protagonist. It is like examining how deranged he is. Like, it's
Right,
not.
but
you know what? Another thing I've noticed about a lot of men is they cannot consume media without assuming that the person at the center of the story is the hero. And like they can't I feel like they cannot process the concept of an anti-hero, which is why I think we need to put a total and complete shutdown on like anti-hero related media, books, movies, TV shows. We should have it be woman only. Like there's going to be something about a flawed protagonist. Women can watch Scarface, that's fine. We understand that Scarface is like not supposed to be aspirational.
Right.
Right? Women can watch The Sopranos. Men can test into being allowed to watch The Sopranos.
Right, but we can really watch this.
We can just do it freely.
We get it.
Hysteria is brought to you by Article. I love Article. Half my house is Article. If I were not doing Article ads, I would be talking about my Article furniture because I like it that much. My dining room chairs are Article. I think they're called the Mahe chairs. They're like a kind of mid-century modern-looking dark walnut with a black leather seat.
They're gorgeous. I've actually seen them in your house.
And they're really cute, and they fit under my, like I have kind of a small space that I'm working with, but they fit under my table perfectly well. And so like when we're not sitting and eating, the table's like footprint isn't too big. I've got a couch that sits on my porch year round that my dog loves, that I love. We just like took all of the couch cushion covers off of it and like laundered them and then replaced them. Super easy to clean. Like, so easy to clean. When I received them in the mail, not in the mail, when like the truck with the furniture, they were delivered seamlessly. The people delivering it in every instance were super professional. It was done exactly on time. I got a ton of updates. It's the most painless furniture delivery experience ever. And if you need more convincing, Article offers a curated range of mid-century modern, coastal, and Scandi-inspired pieces that not only shine on their own, but also pair seamlessly with nearly any other Article product. This thoughtful design approach makes it incredibly easy to mix and match, helping you create a space that feels cohesive and stylish. Article takes great care in curating its collection, focusing solely on high-quality, meaningful pieces that will stand the test of time. There's no filler. Every item is chosen for its craftsmanship, design, and lasting value.
And Erin, with Article's 30-day satisfaction guarantee, you can shop with confidence, knowing that if you're not completely in love with your new furniture, you can easily return it. This peace of mind ensures you can invest in your home without hesitation. Article is offering our listeners $50 off your first purchase of $100 or more. To claim, visit article.com/hysteria, and the discount will be automatically applied at checkout. That's article.com/hysteria for $50 off your first purchase of $100 or more. Hysteria is brought to you by Naked Wines. Erin, you know what I could use right now?
Wine.
A little wine.
Do you know what kind?
You know what? I'd like a little white burgundy.
Okay.
You know, it's like a nice midday for me. Just keep it light, keep going, but maybe
like a lunch wine.
Like a lunch wine.
You know what? A lunch wine. That is something that I feel like if you told the people at Naked Wines that you were looking for something that paired well with like salads, they would be like,
White burgundy.
I got you. Nothing says holiday season like a roaring fire, a cozy sweater, and a glass full of red wine. Or nothing says the holiday season like a giant Caesar salad and a glass of white wine in the middle of the day.
Delish. Maybe a couple French fries on the side.
Absolutely. You know, the holidays are whatever you want them to be. Between the kids and the work in this podcast, I have no time to prep for the holidays. Thankfully, a shipment from Naked Wines ticks off at least one thing on my to-do list, which is have wine on hand for when I go to holiday parties.
Exactly. You have it in case you need a little nip before you go. If you need a gift to take to the party, it's like this time of year, you need a couple cases of wine.
Just wait it, just at the ready.
At the ready.
Because, like, the worst is when you're on your way out the door and you're like, the kids are in the car, you know, my husband is like waiting, and it's like, oh no, what are we bringing? We don't have anything, and then we have to stop at the wine store, and it's this whole thing, and it's just so much better to have a shipment on hand. It's there. Grab it on the way out the door.
Do it. Do something nice for yourself.
This podcast is sponsored by Naked Wines. Naked Wines is a wine club that directly connects you to the world's best independent winemakers so you can get world-class wine delivered straight to your door. Use our code HYSTERIA for the code and password at nakedwines.com and get $100 off your first order. That's 6 bottles for just $39.99.
Naked brings you amazing wine straight from the winery at up to 60% less than what you would pay in the store. By cutting out extra costs like middleman markups, winemakers can pass those savings on to you without skimping on quality. Naked Wines has been around for over 15 years and backs over 90 independent winemakers around the world to make the wine you love to drink. Now is the time to join the Naked Wines community. Head to nakedwines.com/hysteria, click enter voucher, and put in our code HYSTERIA for both the code and password for $100 off your first order. That's 6 bottles for only $39.99 with shipping included. That's $100 off your first 6 bottles at nakedwines.com/hysteria and use the code and password HYSTERIA for 6 bottles of wine for $39.99.
It is like, I'm sorry, like, especially now that I've got like 2 little kids and, you know, my older daughter is 4, and sometimes in public, like I'll take her to shopping and there'll be like a middle-aged or older man trying to interact with her, and I just like fucking hate it. I hate it.
Yeah. Like,
it's so gross. There is a deep like tradition of pedophilia and child-related predatory behavior in this country, and it seriously sickens me. And Megyn Kelly, literally when she was at Fox News, was one of the people who helped bring down Roger Ailes, who was a sexual predator who preyed on adult women. You know what? Somebody should have pointed out to Megyn Kelly, well, look, Roger Ailes preyed on you, and it's not like you're 15.
Right. Multiple women
Who were all of age, though. So it's not like Roger Ailes was a pedophile.
Except that he did it to her. And that's what made it bad. For me, not for thee. Which is a common theme in MAGA.
It truly is. And I'm just... we're talking about the survivors and the victims. They put out a pretty powerful public service announcement. And I'm pretty jaded. Usually when I see PSAs, I'm like, okay, ad campaign, I get it. But this was really powerful.
It was.
They showed photos of how they looked when they were the age that they were abused by Epstein, and like you can see that they were children, and you can see that there is something wrong with an adult man who I think Epstein would have been in his 40s at the time.
Yeah,
a man in his 40s sexually pursuing girls who look like that. Like there's something wrong with him. There's something criminal. There's something deranged about him.
No, they look like high school girls.
They look like high school girls.
They don't look mature for their age or any other excuse that you could possibly hear them try to contrive. They looked like high school girls.
They look like pretty happy girls. And there's a heaviness, not that like surviving abuse in any way detracts from your quality as a person, because it's not your fault, right? Obviously, put that caveat out there. But when you deal with something that intense when you're that young and horrible when you're that young, it's something that just like is part of your makeup for the rest of your life.
Right.
There's something taken from you that can't be given back. And Epstein took that from literally hundreds of girls, and he aided and abetted other men in taking that from girls. Like, and again, that's not the only thing that he did. I think that as the Epstein files come out, we'll get more of a sense of like financial crimes and money laundering.
Which I think will be extreme.
I think that it will be extremely extreme. I recently spoke with somebody who's pretty familiar with the case, and they told me everybody is going to want to talk about like the sexual exploitation, which is horrible and awful. But the big crime is like a global money laundering situation. And not money laundering like, oh, yeah, these people were like selling drugs and cleaning it. People like, raiding pension funds.
Yes.
Stealing from their employees.
Massive.
But, you know, that's a news witch point. We don't have any like reliable data on that, but that's just
but we think we're going to be right.
We think we're going to be right about that. What should Megyn Kelly learn from this?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe not have gradations of pedophilia. Like what is wrong with her?
Yeah. Why say that? That's my question. Is like, I just want her to sit me down and be like, walk me through.
Explain to us.
Why?
When you got the microphone, what part of a 15-year-old, like, Megyn, grab your daughter.
Yeah.
Ask her if she thinks having been made to have sex with someone like Alan Dershowitz at her age was, like, not criminal.
Right.
How she'd feel about that.
Yeah.
Like, and I never like to bring people's children into things, but she kind of did.
She brought her kid into this, honestly.
By being like someone who's like I guess she made like a year older than her. Like, it's
gross.
Megyn, we've said before, she is very hardworking and she's a smart person. She could do so much more if she didn't cow.
Yeah.
Right? It felt like a cow to Trump that she is still trying to like stay in his favor since the debate where she asked him a hard question and he said that she had blood coming out of all her holes.
Yeah. Her whatever. Come on, use the correct medical term. Her whatever. You know, something that I've been thinking about because I've watched this clip like a bunch of times to just try to figure out, because I'm like fascinated by how stupid it was for her to say. Like, she's an experienced news person who used to host a show on NBC where she pretended to have empathy. It didn't go over well. It got canceled. Nobody liked it.
Turns out she doesn't have empathy.
Yeah, it turns out she's bad at acting.
That was a very hard sell.
Yeah, that was hard. But one thing that I keep noticing is the woman on the other side of her split screen that is like, and there's something so VP about being like the person on the other side of a split screen when someone is being like, you know, it's not like he was raping babies, you know, and she was like, yes, yeah. It's like, now you are permanently, I don't know who that lady is. I was like going to look her up and then I was like, you know what? I think that she's going to be a part of history because of this and I don't need to like add to it. But she's just sitting there nodding and it's just like, as a podcast guest, that is like a nightmare situation. You're on the other side of a split screen and you're like, sure, yeah, it's fine. Well, it's like halfway between really bad and okay. Like, yeah. Anyway, all right.
Not remotely.
All right, we have, Marjorie. We got to check in with Marjorie Taylor
Miss
Greene.
Marge.
Oh, what's she been up to since we last covered her appearance on The View? Because she's been doing a lot.
She's out there.
She's got a whole new personality. She's
demure. She is refined.
She's calm. She's contrite. She and Trump broke up.
And she's speaking in a new decibel.
She's also speaking in a new tone. It's like she's brought it down. She's gone from this to this.
She's got she debuted that new view on The Voice, and she debuted that new voice on The View.
I was just imagining Marjorie Taylor Greene as a judge on The Voice,
which would life's long.
Maybe
the arc is long.
She
honestly, could end up there.
That's a best case scenario for where I fear that we are headed. Because she is doing this like makeover tour, right? Where she's like, I'm nice now. I'm nice now. She issued what sounds a lot like an apology. And if pretty much anyone else said exactly these words, I'd be like, that's a well-crafted apology. On Sunday night, she went on CNN's State of the Union and said, I would like to say humbly, I'm sorry for taking part in the toxic politics. It's very bad for our country. It's been something I've thought about a lot, especially since Charlie Kirk was assassinated. So then in a statement on Tuesday...
And Dana Bash pressed her.
Yeah.
I mean, she reread statements of batshit things that Marjorie Taylor Greene had said.
Yeah.
And Marjorie did not get mad. She did not lash out. She was like, you're right, and I apologize for that.
I mean, it was a masterclass in how to handle a fight when you have realized that you're wrong. Like, that is really like, honestly, if you're in a heated confrontation with someone and they're like, what about this? What about this? What about this? And
She's
you're like,
you're right.
You're right, which is very scary
I
to
think
me.
she's been watching the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, because there's a lot of this going on that show right now too.
That's true. She could be watching a lot of like, even like reality TV on Netflix and Love Island. They all have this kind of like advanced therapy communication style where it's like you've all gone to couples counseling as a single person.
I hear you.
Yeah.
And
What
your
I'm
criticism
hearing,
is correct.
what I'm hearing is you're upset with the hurtful things that I said in the past, and I'm processing what you're telling me, and I am understanding. It's like that's
Exactly
what she's doing. In a statement on Tuesday, she took a swing at Trump. I was called a traitor by a man that I fought for 6 years, and I gave him my loyalty for free, Greene said. I won my first election without his endorsement, beating 8 men in a primary, and I've never owed him anything, but I fought for him, for the policies and for America first. And he called me a traitor for standing with these women and refusing to take my name off the discharge petition. She's referring to the Epstein files discharge petition that prompted the vote in the House that was 427-1 that we've been talking about all show. So, okay. There's so much that she's doing here, and I fear that eventually her appearance on The View will be a moment that we look back on that led to something terrible.
Yeah.
Because even though Marjorie Taylor Greene is being less erratic and contrite about certain things, she's not being very specific in her contrition. She's just being contrite about the tone in which she said the things. I believe that she still believes
Right, that
the
she
things.
contributed to discourse.
Right.
Right, that she participated in things that did not make America great, perhaps.
Or she understands that the tactics she was using were not effectively getting enough of a buy-in to adopt her worldview, which is still a worldview where Nick Fuentes is somebody that she endorses as someone that should be on mainstream media. And that is why, as we talked about last week, while I am no longer annoyed listening to Marjorie Taylor Greene speak, now that she's speaking at a more appropriate tone and decibel level, and using complete sentences, I am still extremely wary, and everybody should be extremely wary about the very little white picket fencey words that she uses that can have slippery meanings, because she's trying to slip racism into something that is acceptable. She's trying to slip racism into populism.
Right.
Bernie Sanders style populism is like everybody who lives here should have access to humane living conditions. And Marjorie Taylor Greene populism is everybody white and Christian who lives here should have access to humane living conditions. And we have to be wary of this. Pay attention to what she's saying. Pay attention to what she's not saying. Who gets to be an American?
I mean, the thing that's the most interesting about what is happening right now is just that she's defying Trump, right? It is not that she has become she has not been rehabilitated. She has just gotten in a fight with someone who did her dirty after she carried their water for a long time, right? That's what's happening in a better blowout and a somewhat sassier suit.
Yes. Although I haven't totally ruled out the possibility that this is a Freaky Friday type situation and she switched bodies with one of her kids, and somewhere in Georgia there is a college student suddenly freaking out at everybody and yelling about QAnon. So if listeners, if any of you are in Georgia and have noticed any college students suddenly freaking out and yelling about QAnon in the dining hall, hysteria@crooked.com is the way to get in touch with us. Please let us know. Then we can conclude and confirm that Marjorie Taylor Greene did indeed switch bodies with one of her children. But until that is proven to us, we're just going to have to assume that right now she's trying to make something that her old tactics could not successfully make palatable by using new tactics. It's the same shit in a different bag.
Yeah.